Hey, my name is Tanner Kemp, and this is my personal story. Close your eyes. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. That right there was an 8-second ride. This is one of the most fun-filled, action-packed sports that has ever been recorded on the face of this earth. You're strapping yourself on a 1,500-pound beast. And this is my experience with my brush with death. This is your typical day. It was about late August, school getting ready to start, and all the buddies wanted to go to the bar. Me being 21, I couldn't really get into the bar, but I knew enough people that I could get in, and I'd get in and get my way around and not get in too much trouble. So, sure enough, we show up at the bar. I do a little dancing, because dancing is my thing. Everything from front flips to candlesticks to whatever you call them. I dance. What can I say? But tonight, something just felt weird to me. I'm like, I'm not just getting enough out of this dancing. Sure enough, over the loudspeaker, excuse me, this is the last call for all riders wanting to ride tonight. Last call for all entries. Riding, anyone want to ride? Please come by the announcer's booth. Sure enough, we were at the bar where there's bull riding. And man, something caught my ear that night. I'm like, ha, I could do that. So all my buddies are like, bull crap, you're not doing that. You're not a man to jump on a bull for 8 seconds. And I said, it's only $20, why not? So, walked around, saw an announcer's booth. Alright, guys, I'm going to do this. They're like, no, you're not going to do that. I'm like, watch me. So I walk over and I said, I'm here to sign up for the bull riding. And they said, oh, okay, all you got to do is sign out this paperwork. Oh, wait 1 second, are you over the age of 18? And I said, yes, I am. I just turned 20 this year. And they're like, all right, who cares? You're over the age of 18, just show us your ID. So, ripped it out of my back pocket, pulled out my ID, and handed it to him and said, there you go, ma'am. She said, all right, here's the clipboard, start filling out your name, date of birth, all that good stuff that you'd have to do to sign on a liability waiver. And they said, oh, you're going to ride in about 25, 30 minutes. Do you have any equipment? And I said, no, I do not. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. All the guys back there, we've got lots of extra stuff. You just go on back and they'll get you all set up. So I said, thanks. So I paid them my $20. I finished signing my release waiver so that if I died, I couldn't sue them or anything like that. And I handed over that clipboard and I said, thank you. So my buddies are like, you're going to whip out. And I'm like, later, dudes, I'm going to be on the chutes. And they're like, all right, see you when you get done. So I walk behind the chutes and there's a few guys sitting there priming their ropes. And this is where you take your bull rope, tie it around, and you get it warmed up so that the lather is ready to go, so you go to firm set your hand. So I said, hey, I need some equipment. So they're like, oh, we got you. So you look like a pretty large man. Oh, we got a vest right here. So they handed me this vest, and I put it on. And I go, yeah. And they're like, no, that's not going to work. So they're like, all right, we need a double. So, sure enough, they created a vest for me. They got two vests and they tied them together. And I put it on and my arms are one. So I got one arm out here and I'm barely doing this. And I got one arm over here and I'm doing this. Because I'm going to be honest, bull riding is not for a typical bigger boy like myself. It's for smaller guys, I'd say. The average bull rider is anywhere from 5'4" to 5'6", and I'm sitting at 5'11". So I'm sitting with my big old two-vester, and they're like, "Oh, well, you need your helmet." So I'm like, "Yeah, I do, because I'm getting ready to ride this bull called Death." And they're like, "Here you go." I can hardly breathe. They're like, "Then it's working." I'm like, "Okay." So I walk over to the chutes. They're like, "You got a few minutes." So I'm like, "Okay." Now I'm starting to think, "Oh, what am I doing? I'm getting ready to ride a bull named Death." So the guy in front of me goes, hangs on, and he gets a ride, and he goes, and he goes, and he goes, and he falls off at 5 seconds. I'm like, "Oh, bull didn't seem too bad." And then the next bull comes out. Next guy goes on, goes on, goes on, right 8 seconds. Oh, doesn't seem too bad. And then they're like, "Kemp, you're riding next. Kemp, you're riding next." And I'm like, these last two guys did pretty well. I might be able to do it. So I walk up to the chutes, and they let the bull in. And they're like, "We need a new bull." I'm like, "Why? It's a nice bull. It's probably only about 600 pounds. Weighs 400 pounds more than me. I'm okay with that." They're like, "Son, you would squish that bull if you sat on it." I'm like, "Thanks." So they let him out, and he jumped around, and I'm like, I could have rid that. And then they let in the new bull, Dos Tangos. This bull is sitting at 1,285 pounds. This thing has one horn to the left, one horn to the right, one bananaing, and one sticking up like you know what. So I'm sitting there. Now I'm shaking, because I'm like, this bull is one bad mamma jamma. They're like, "So get on in there." So I'm like, "All right." 1 foot in, 2 foot in. They're like, "So what hand are you?" I'm like, "Ah." I write with my left and I shoot with my right. They're like, "You write with your left? All right, put your left in there." I'm like, "Ah." And they're like, "So what you gonna do?" Wrap around, wrap around, wrap around, and up and down." I'm like, "What?" So they're like, "Wrap around, then up, then down." I'm like, "Okay." So I went wrap around, and then up, and then down. They're like, "Yeah, that looks pretty good. You ready to ride a bull?" I'm like, and they're like, "All right." They said, "When you shake your head up and down, the gate's gonna open." And I'm like, shake my head up and down like this, and the gates fly open, and I go up, and I go down, and I go off, and I fall on the ground. Whoo! I just realized I rode a bull. And as I stand up, people are clapping. They're like, "Woo!" And then they announce the time. Only 4.8 seconds. 4.8 seconds. I'm like, not too bad. And I did the whole cowboy wave thing. And I walk over. I'm like, I'm going to feel this in the morning. I rip off my vest. I handed it back. All the guys are back and sitting there, and the chutes are like, "That's your first time, ain't it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, congratulations. You just strapped yourself on a 1,200-pound rocket." And I'm like, Thank you. That's all I needed to know." And there is the time that I rode a bull. Thank you.